Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question, and that is really to sort of talk about the aftermath of a relationship with a narcissist. You've been sort of caught up in their web. You've been caught up in their game book. You know, they have a manual basically of how they want things to go, which is before you showed up on the scene. So if things aren't going according to plan for a narcissist, a malignant narcissist, you might see the edgy side. You might see the rage sort of pop up, and you will feel belittled or really sort of lacked out. And this is the question that I want to address. Is a comment from a viewer that talks about how they feel sort of lacked out of a relationship or a family system or a workplace. And this is sort of a way for them, if they can shut you down, it's a power and manipulation move. It's just sort of trying to snuff you out, extinguish you, your fire, your presence, your passion. I mean, this, to unlock that motivation and get sort of, you know, on your feet, back on your emotional feet, you really do need to stand up and know that you are important, not just complying and conforming to the standards or the judgment of a narcissist, especially when they try to control the flow of communication. Meaning it's like a dam, and then sometimes, you know, they can pull the trigger and you can talk, you know, but, you know, oftentimes this will be very difficult for people who have been targeted. There's an inconsistency and an uncertainty. This can arouse paranoia and insecurity and suspicion. In other words, what have I done you know, in this relationship that I was committed to? So especially if you're like really loyal, really committed to this person day in, day out, they just do it for you. And then all of a sudden they sort of just vanish. And, you know, your energy vanishes along with it. You can have a lot of just sort of lack of motivation, or really what feels like as a lack of direction. And that entitlement, you know, a narcissist entitlement, they sort of set their own rule book. I'm just trying to, you know, those like people who are on a football team and they go over their playbook, you know, it's just sort of narcissists. They already have this sort of push you off, you know, as part of their power play. So they like to control the flow of information, almost as if you had a water channel and then they're going to put up a wall, can't go there anymore, and then they're going to bring the wall down. So it feels like you're really not in control. This is very uncomfortable. People don't enjoy that degree of uncertainty. If there's a lot, you know, if there's some surprises or once in a while, you can manage it. It becomes a lot of drama. And people really lose sight of self-care, I would say, when they're in this excitable stage. And realize that the excitable is also a big time comment where people feel agitated. They feel anxious. They're at their wits' end. They're ready to blow a gasket. You know, the narcissist is saying, gimme, 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 gimme. And you've already tapped out. You've already just been like, you know, maybe you've had a conversation, this can't continue, and then they're still going for it. And then they might get their way. You know, you might cave in and let them, quote unquote, air quotes, get away with it. They love to get away and, you know, with things. And so it's part of how they are. It is just their style of relating. It's their style of being. So if it's been detrimental to you, if it's sort of really disturbed you, you really need to stop trying to solve everything while you're in the midst of the problem. Because if you continue just try to analyze, think your way through it, you know, realize that this is a physical healing. When it comes to sort of healing and strengthening through narcissistic treatment or mistreatment. These lessons that we talk about, the topics on the videos, these need to just sort of marinade. You have to sort of apply these and see this in your life. One big thing with me, with psychology, is it's very important to me as I've studied this. I went to University College. And I'm just, about at completed master's. One class shy. I did a lot of education and other outside work in psychology, English, sort of specialized curriculums, things of that nature. So realize, that this sort of dynamic is very much like that of alcoholics, where they just sort of escape into their bottle. They just, and then it causes you to sort of feel that they're on another dimension. And then you oftentimes feel responsible and you feel that you're the one who is unrelatable. And then you have trouble maybe carrying this on and having friendships, other social engagements. And you've held effectively held yourself back, or effectively, been overly restrained or constrained by this narcissist treatment. Realize that a lot of people try to figure out and conform, and then always, especially very, very young children, they then always attribute it to some fault. Maybe I'm not good looking enough. I'm not enough. I'm not, my shoulder is not doesn't have a muscle right here. I mean, whatever it can be, you've got people make all sorts of unconscious decisions. So it's in your feeling state. So my understanding to sort of heal this is you have to come down and come back to your senses. One effective thing about the reset is that the narcissist will sort of take your senses away from you. Not just take your breath away, take your heart away, take your energy away, take your physical vitality away. So we're talking about really sort of recalibrating your feeling, your energetic and etheric body. So you have to realize that you have energy all around you. As a spiritual note, you have this energy all around you, and your physical body is just a portion of your presence. So a lot of people don't really learn, they don't really know this, learn this, consider this. So when they say I have to regroup, meaning you have to regroup with yourself, not yourselves, but your multiple bodies. Your regroup, in my understanding, is regroup in your physical body, regroup in your emotional body, meaning come back, consolidate, bring back in, reel it in, almost as if you were reeling in a horse that was a wild horse, and you're like, we are in the wrong spot. This relationship took you down some craggy roads you thought you were going to do 3 somersaults forward, land on your face. You didn't know if you were going to make it, or land on your feet facing up. You didn't know where you're going to end up. You might have gone through a lot of changes. And your self-care has sort of been oblivious. You have been or feeling oblivious as a result of narcissistic entitlement, where they sort of cast a net for people. Narcissists are seeking supply, oftentimes to do their dirty work, what they might consider underling, and then supply is just sort of will keep that going, almost like waving the fans of a fire to help their passion, but then take your own. So people oftentimes get this very different dynamic where the narcissist, they feel that they have the all the charisma, the friendships, the contacts, and that you're sort of not equipped for that. So that's erroneous or flawed thinking that occurs as a result. Flawed thinking, meaning that your thoughts are, you have an error, in your thought process. So you have to regroup and realize that healing, which is going to take time. I've been making comments to viewers about this. Realize that when you learn these lessons, it's a healing process. Just like if you were to get a reconstructive shoulder surgery and you need 4 months of rest so everything can regroup and heal and remesh, just like if you were to go through an open heart surgery and you've got bones in here that they crack open and then the bones need to remesh and refuse. Your bones just don't go pop, people, I think their expectations, especially with the digital age that we find ourselves in, coming up on 2020 and 2021, everything is push, push, push. You know, if it's not done in your time frame, like I want to pay my car in 6 seconds. I want to pay my phone bill in 2 seconds. You know, so there's all this, and so you have to realize that you are a human being. You are not a human doing. So you have to kind of like remember what you forgot. Because all those important essentials to your happiness are kind of like leached out, if you will. So, and you have to realize that you have multiple layers and dimensions that need to be healed. So, you know, your physical body, if you've seen somebody who falls, gets a scrape on their knee, and then they're bleeding, you know, that's a physical wound. An emotional wound is, you know, your energy in motion, your emotions, your feelings. Now, people who are narcissistic or psychopathic, they don't engage in empathy. So they're not tapping into that part of you. So imagine that you have a part of you that needs attention and is being neglected and destroyed because they are hurting this type of energy within you, your etheric energy body. And then, you know, you've got like your spiritual body, believe it or not, which is your energy, your sort of your presence, if you will. You know, so you might, someone who has, you know, you are around them and you go, wow, you know, that person just seems very holy. I just want to be in their presence for a moment. Or this person really seems protective. They are like a guard dog. Like you might see the presence of a really good security guard and you go, man, no one's getting past that guy. That guy is 6'5", 280, packed with muscle, and you know that guy, you can't mess with that guy. So that's like, you know, so you have to realize that you have to come back to the kinesthetic, the feeling, the energy, not the you know, thinking your way through it, because where you want to heal is from all those dimensions in. And really you have to create a space within and really create a sacred center. So in coming back, you know, people usually are running around a lot, doing errands, doing this, texting this picture, updating your Facebook, your Instagram. I mean, all this, you know, people do a lot of social maintenance, but they don't oftentimes do a lot of social relating. So if you don't use it, you might feel that you lose it. So it's really like a muscle. So realize that you might have that sinking feeling and want to push that out. It's very uncomfortable, I think, for a lot of people to regain their strength, especially when they've sort of been leached out by this person and they've had this emotional wound, like a sense of being bled out. And the feeling of being misunderstood, or someone who is asking too much of you and you're just expected to comply. So you feel that there's no control, you know, so you have to realize that there's many areas of the etheric body that need to be attended to and sort of snapped or put back together in alignment. Meaning realizing that if you have been devalued, and sort of discarded, you have to realize and regain a sense of your own value. You have to feel it in the kinesthetic, the body. So coming back to your body, where maybe you have not felt at one, at peace. You might feel, I'm sitting around, I'm sitting on my ass. You know, you have to be able to, as part of your healing, interject these restful moments in your day, even if it's 2 minutes, 1 minute, 5 minutes. You know, learn to give yourself this, because it will re-energize you and keep you from that over analysis that prevents you from healing. Because a lot of people, if they've been with a narcissist or a psychopath, they're experiencing the aftermath of a lot of mind games, meaning, you know, being manipulated, deception, and deceit. So those are the ingredients at play, and you kind of don't want to ingest any more of that. So you have to realize and put up a boundary and go, you know what? This is really a clear zone. Like I'm pushing out my energy through my whole home right now. So if you can imagine pushing out your positive energy and light to fill your entire home, just coming from within, just a state of will, pushing out your light, whatever that means to you, just in the etheric energy body where it's pure energy. So if you can concentrate on that, even if it's for 5 seconds, then even deeper, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, you will get a sense of your etheric body and your I am coming right from around your belly button or, your solar plexus. This is the seat of your I am. A lot of people don't live from this place enough. They're all out there. They're controlled by an external locus of control. You literally do have power. So if your power has been zapped from you or you have this social anxiety, realize that you have a social anxiety not because you're a bad person or unlikable or unlovable. You've usually learned this, just like you learned your ABCs 1, 2, 3. A narcissist is almost like an instructor. A psychopath is like an instructor to give you a negative syllabus back to college. Here's your agenda. You're going to fail. You're not going to get love. Do you see how, so a lot of people, though, what's very interesting to me about the human being is people can rationalize and convince themselves otherwise of the practical and pragmatic. So they just sort of leap out. This is called reactivity, especially now in the information age. Reactivity just seems to be like a very valued human behavior. And realize that now with the change of the landscape, to me, with the digital age, you're going to be seeing a lot more of this automation, not robotic, but yes, robotic, but just sort of tech, what you consider progress. So realize and step back that you need to evaluate in your own etheric body, what is progress for you socially? You need to be able to get back to the drawing board. Sit on your eggs, like a mother hen. You got to be able to get your little nest eggs of value back and sit on it. Keep it warm. Let it grow. This might take a month. This might take 2 months. It might take 3 days. It might take half an hour, and then one egg will pop, and then another egg. So it's weird to say that it's like emotional laying eggs, but it really is when we talk about personal growth. And we use a lot of analogies here because I want this to be applied. I want you to be able to apply and experience results. Life is too short. And it would be my guess that a lot of our viewers have spent a lot of time in the suffering zone. Anybody highly hurt, suffering, meaning struggle, meaning confusion, feeling lost, trying to scramble for direction because of a relationship or a value system that they are trying to integrate within that you're not able to assimilate in. Assimilating, meaning that if you were to go to a school, like let's just say you were living in, just say, Costa Rica, where socially there isn't a lot of schools. The government doesn't have the money. There's corruption. There's no building, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so some other area, and I'm just saying wherever. So imagine, and then coming to an inner city school or a very highly populated school. And then you would then have to feel sort of that you're left out, that you don't know what's going on. You might feel that you have to assimilate to another culture, the narcissist culture. And it doesn't make any sense for you to adjust and adapt to a profoundly sick something. So you have to realize that you have to really, and that's another egg that you might have to sit on for 5-6 months, a year, to it really grows in your self-care. So, we're talking really about evolution here and growth. So it's evolving from that erroneous, flawed thinking that you had been taught by a narcissist or by a psychopath or someone who is really interfering with your etheric body. Realize you have these many dimensions, but the healing has to come back you have to start at the physical, in my mind, because the physical is like the lower, that, that's where the rubber meets the road, if you will. And you have other aspects in character, like you have a character. And so that character oftentimes was not witnessed, acknowledged, and validated as valuable. That character, once you can come back to your body and you get a sense of your own etheric energy, your personal space, and making this a sacred space, meaning like the Olympic torch. When you watch the Olympics and they're like carrying the torch, you have an inner torch, an inner flame, an inner fire. You might have had this really extinguished. People might have actually literally poured water on you, putting out your fire. Anybody, in other words, you were just following the game plan to somebody who had another vision for you that is going in what I call NOD, thinking, behaving, and becoming. Negative, orderly, direction, thinking, feeling, and becoming. It literally is like another direction. So negative meaning it's you're unhappy. You're, not socially, you're not climbing a social ladder, or you don't even feel that there's a ladder or a belonging for you to sort of lock arms with. So it feels very scary, I think, for a lot of people to change and stop unlocking arms with a destructive force. So physically, etherically, spiritually, psychologically, you're feeling and being. It is okay just to be. A lot of people have not acknowledged and validated this. They have not been allowed, permitted, or that be state has been devalued, either through the advertising in your area, the people in your community, or maybe if you're lucky enough, you're around a community that you have found through personal growth that is more pod thinking, what I call positive, orderly direction thinking, feeling, behaving, and becoming. It's literally like a trajectory. It's literally like a rocket, like Elon Musk. I mean, OMG, he's really, but if a rocket follows something called a trajectory, that means, an arc in space. So if they adjust it on the ground, even a little hair, a little micro, couple millimeters way off in the distance, it might, be 100,000 miles difference where that rocket ends up because of the trajectory, because of the long range effect. So to me, those negative lessons that you picked up, you were reading the game plan of the narcissist, and it's like you were just sort of unwritten from the show. It's just like your character, fell through the elevator. Your character got washed away in the flood. I mean, you literally, a lot of people feel lacked out and because you haven't been noticed and recognized. So you have to give to yourself. You have to give to yourself. You have to give and create that inner relationship. You have to become committed and attached and nurturing of yourself. Self-care in many ways that you might not feel comfortable. It might feel very scary to unlock arms with a narcissist and be independent of that drama because that has your focus. So it's okay to get back on your feet and then lock arms somewhere else. You don't have to explain, justify, and analyze. Allow it just to come into being into your life. I think that really is the miracle. Getting back and watching even some classics. What was that? There's all sorts of classics on the movies right now. It's a Wonderful Life. I mean, watch some of these things. Get the warm and fuzzies again. Begin to feel a tingling in your tummy and some butterflies about excitement. So just a quick exercise before we wrap up. If you weren't so held back by the anxiety and then the stress and pressure And then the fear and sort of obligation, if you weren't held back by that, I would really love to. And then write 1 through 20. Just if you weren't held back by all those negative feelings, I would really love to. And then write down 1 through 20. I would really like to have, see, feel, become, know. Not just physical things, because oftentimes it's the physical that you need to stop ingesting. In that sense, even, getting your etheric body back under your dominion. You are captain, you are king, you are queen. You are, or if that title makes you feel uncomfortable, you are, what positive are you? Are you, second fiddle to the leader in my life? Then okay. Or I'm the lead violin. I'm the lead trumpist. I'm the lead walker. I'm the lead listener. Whatever it is, what do you lead? I mean, what can you comfortably lead in your life right now? And stick with that and build upon that. And then developing an opening for that character to attract new experiences. Skills will come when you enter that positive, orderly direction, meaning you'll be able to find what you are fond of. Fond of meaning, that, wow, that's cool. Maybe, you like to see those guys with the bikes, and then they, jump and then do all sorts of, what really is interesting to you. Filling your life with that, because usually there's a skill that person has, you also possess, but you want to acknowledge and validate and sort of water and allow it to sort of flourish in your life. So you really do have to open that up in the healing. So you have to sort of have an appointment with yourself where you kind of take time and create the sacred. We'll talk about more of that in future videos, and that will help you sort of to get some better feet on and socially, but really work on that internal locus of control versus an external locus of control. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and for goodness sake, please donate for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Have a great day.